Driving into Muncie yesterday, something seemed wrong or missing, and it didn't dawn on me until this morning when I came out of my room that it wasn't raining. So it feels good to be back in the atmosphere that I so well remember. In regards to the opening that I'm a designer, I'm not really a designer. I did not design this project. I'm involved in the project management of it. But I think through that area, I can still give to you an idea of an image of what I think is an important project happening in Atlanta, Georgia today, which also makes this one different from what we've seen yet this morning or this afternoon. Is this project is under construction, is a real project. It's not a proposal. It's not something somebody wishes could happen or would happen. It's being built today. Another thing that I'm going to try to attempt to show you is this is one developer's attempt to revitalize the downtown core areas, especially Atlanta. Try to create activities to bring people into the downtown core areas on off hours, work hours. Catch that. Any time that leisure environment is available, that they could use it 24 hours a day. See, I have left and right here. Okay, what's this? So through these slides, I hope to be able to very quickly give you an idea of the scale of this project. It's very large. And where am I? Okay. The project itself, the site of it is 6 blocks off of are these operable from here? Okay, I still need the one on this other side. Yeah, it's not operable for some reason. Well, these two slides are strictly to show you the downtown, or Atlanta itself within the state, and of course, so on the other side we have a skyline. Atlanta's a very beautiful city, and this is not an uncommon sight, especially in the fall, October, November. As far as the site of the International itself, it's 6 blocks off of Peachtree Street, which is the main corridor of the city. On the right-hand side here, you can see the corridor would be outlined by the buildings that are rendered most heavily in a dense, with Omni International and Omni Arena being in the brown rendered color on the top. The proximity of Omni International itself is one of the key aspects which I think will have a lot to do with success as a leisure environment. It's located next to 2 great people generators. The first one being the Omni Arena, which our office did about 3 years ago, that being at the bottom of the right-hand slide. It's a multi-purpose coliseum, professional sporting events, so on. At that time, then, or next in sequence came Omni International, which I'm speaking to today, which is to the right, or this isn't very good focus on this side, which is to the right and lower corner. It's a multi-purpose megastructure. And then approximately a year ago, World Congress Center, which is again a multi-purpose exhibition hall, state funds, was initiated, and our office is doing that as well. So within this one triangular section, we have a tremendous dollars worth of architecture plus three major elements which can work hand in hand and potentially provide a very, very exciting kind of experience day in, day out for conventioneers, people who live in the city, people traveling through. What I want to do next is very quickly try to explain to you the building components, otherwise you may have a little difficulty in really understanding what Omni is. On your left over here, south being the bottom of the sheet, we have a complex which is constructed in phase. It's a design-build project, fast track. South office building being the lower long piece, and on the right here you can see the actual elevation in model form. It's 14 stories, about 280,000 square feet. We also have what we call the north office building, which is on the top side of this model floor plan over here. And it's about 200,000 square feet of rental office space, 14 stories also. The third phase, which is under construction now also, will be open September 1 of this year, is a hotel which is 500 luxury rooms. On the plan, it's at the top right. It's kind of horseshoe shape, and it also has a secondary interior space. The fourth element, which originally was to be a trade center, world trade, somewhat ran into problems when the World Congress Center was proposed and initiated because they were identical functions. So the owner of this development project was faced with finding a new tenant quickly. He had 70,000 square feet with nothing to put in it. So through his connections with some people he had known previously in California, he was able to initiate an amusement center concept, which would be 8 levels, the first high-rise amusement center in the world. Along with the 4 major building elements which frame a great space, we have at the base of all these buildings 2 levels of shopping, retail mall, about 180,000 square feet, with an ice rink in the center. Ice hockey, when it came to Atlanta about 3 years ago, was just taking the city by storm. So ice rinks are a new item in the South. The people seem to really be enjoying it as a new environment or a new experience in leisure. So they feel that this will be highly used. It's becoming more and more popular all the time. To bring the total project together into a confined environment, we had a great roof which spans from building to building and closes the space. And I did bring along some construction sequence shots of this to give you an idea of what it will be like. It's about 15 feet deep, maximum spans 180 feet, about 200 foot high off the ground atrium, 11 million cubic feet. Once it's totally enclosed, it's a one-way truss system. This is at the roof level looking into the actual catwalk and framing members. Here's a few of our friends putting it together. I do that on a day-to-day basis. And of course, there's always got to be something that you can say about projects that you have to have the world's most or the world's best or the world's greatest. Well, we've got the world's longest escalator. It's 205 feet long, 95 feet to the top. Originally, it was to be a people mover system, strictly to move people through the space, get them to the top of the trade pavilion, and let them filter down. Well, with the loss of that function, it turned into now the major entry into the amusement park. So it'll be somewhat a queuing line, and you'll filter up into the amusement park from that point. So once you're on, and you can't get off. So if you want to total up what I've given you at this point. We've got 6 acres under one roof. We've got 2 million square feet, and we're talking about $70 million worth of building dollars. The next thing I'd like to do, without me adding any comments to it, is run through a sequence of slides which I call imagery slides, which will give you a very quick feel for some of the things that we've created in the way of architecture. So I'll just run through these very quickly. We don't have automatic focus, do we? So some of these things are going to probably go focus because I'm going to go through them rather quickly. I'd like to also, at this point, bring in what the owner's philosophy is, something that's nothing I've said or I've thought about, and I have to agree with his ideas, but he says, to revitalize core areas in decline, effectively solve existing dilemmas and avoid future urban crises through the perceptive and profitable realization of a city's potential. Now, Omni International is the first of 3 major projects which this developer has initiated. 2 others, Norfolk and Miami, are in their initial stages, but Omni International is the first real design-build project that is coming out of the ground. And it's his attempt, through the functions he's going to house, the type of experiences he builds into the project, the people he gets to run and manage the situation. He hopes to revitalize the city's core. And he believes that if you give people a good reason to return downtown, they'll come. And if you give them several reasons, there's no doubt that they'll return to use it. So, believing that through the initiation of major innovative projects designed to create a new climate of excitement and providing new forms of entertainment, the downtown area will be an attractive place for people. So, his large multi-purpose megastructure, which is uniting a variety of functions and activities, is what he is, or what format I should say, that he's really basing all his goals on. So if this project is a success, chances are he'll feel that the next 2 he tries may have the same potential. So he's a little on needles and pins at this point because it's under construction and hasn't. We do have 1 building open, but we don't know if it's really going to be a people generator like we all envision it to be. Going on with a few more slides. As I pointed out earlier, its site location is prime because of the people generators we have next to it. Tens of thousands of people will be using this corner of the city daily. This happens to be the inside of the arena next door with the Atlanta Flames. People have just fallen in love with them, so we get large crowds. So they'll be using that facility, and after the game they can filter through Omni International and potentially use all the shopping areas or the nightclubs and all the other activities which will be available to them. So we're going to be attracting a mix of potential users. The other thing that I pointed out earlier was World Congress with conventioneers. They anticipate 180,000 conventioneers in the first year that it'll be open. And being that close to Omni International, undoubtedly they'll use the hotel facilities and shopping facilities. Well, since this is a leisure symposium, And I'm trying to address a design-build project to what it has to offer. I'd like to, at this point, go into additional things other than the World Congress Center and Omni Arena, which we consider to be leisure components. This being, I should have shot these up a little earlier. This is World Congress Center right next door. So, leisure environment, leisure activities, leisure components. In the perspective slide at the end is the hotel itself, which faces the central space and all the activity. A hotel is a leisure environment in itself, so it'll be a luxury hotel, have fine restaurants, should have some interesting, exciting views, and a few other things that most hotels can offer. This perspective also gives you an idea of the two-level shopping mall, which will be incorporated under these mid-rise towers. It's a two-level mall, has a wide variety of shops related to dollars. We have very, very expensive European shops, right down to a very five and dime store approach. So again, they're trying to meet the needs of the people who will be using the building for any kind of need they may have. Approximately 100 total shops. There's always spin-off activities too when you're shopping. So, as I already pointed out, that ice skating is a big positive thing right now that everybody in the city seems to enjoy. So the ice rink will be there, but it'll also serve as a visual identifier. It gives you a identity point. So when you're moving through the building, you'll always have a reference point to be able to get your bearings, because the building is very large, and you'll have potential. Maybe you could get lost in it if you're not being able to orientate yourself. In addition, we have a kind of a new concept in cinemas. We have what we call mini cinemas. We have 8 of them. So they'll house about 100 people each. They'll show 8 different movies. So it's unique, especially in the city of Atlanta. And again, it might be a drawing card that some other activity spaces do not have. And of course, theme restaurants. They're going to have a wide variety of theme restaurants as well, from pizza parlors right up to the finest restaurants at $100 a plate, which is a very fine French restaurant planned for the hotel area. Who will ever use it, I'll never know. Then the International breaks down now into 2 kind of special elements, 2 major elements. The first one being an international bazaar, which these next series of slides will try to convey some kind of message, in that it's an attempt by the owner through his travels to Europe to bring back an old world open market. He's going to incorporate fresh fruit and flowers. He's going to have artwork from around the world. He's going to have gold and silversmiths at work, weavers, potters, bakers, and they're all going to be surrounded by their wares that you can just go up and buy like you would in an open market in Europe. Wines, cheeses, something I thought was kind of nice. He's also going to incorporate some of the Appalachian chain wares that are produced daily there too. But it is truly an international bazaar, and I think the city of Atlanta will really enjoy it as it comes into being. But going on one more step, even with this vast collection of varied entertainment activities, they're not anything unique, in that you can find these in most cities in the country. But the next thing that we're going to show you here is something that is the first time it's ever been done. It's a totally new concept in family entertainment, totally unprecedented, physically unique in its design, and that is the world of Sid and Marty Krofft. You may recognize Puff and Stuff over there. He's on television on Saturday mornings. And through the initiation of these two people, have come up with some very unique thought processes on what they can and cannot do in an enclosed environment. Everyone's familiar with the Disney World and Disneyland approaches of a long, sprawling, laid out over acres and acres of land and a sequence of events put together like that. But no one's ever put one in a high-rise situation, especially in Center City. So the owner is banking heavily on this activity as being one of the strong drawing themes that will potentially bring people into the city, traveling people, as well as the people who live there, the suburban type approach. It's $14 million. It's filled with all kinds of various puppet and TV characters. Puff and Stuff, Sigmund the Sea Monster, the Boogaloos. Sigmund, he's my favorite. He's on the right over here. We have a variety of rides, too. They're not thrill rides. They're rides that make you use all your senses, touch and smell, and kind of an excitement type thing, but not thrill. It'll require about 3 to 4 hours to complete the full cycle. As you get on the escalator and take it to the top of the pavilion, you will then filter down in sequence to the bottom, about 8 levels. So, sequence of events. There will be live entertainment. That was one of the major questions that came up early in the concept was, since it's built in a high-rise, you don't have the flexibility that you do on open ground where you can tear something down and move it around or build whole new events. So they're incorporating into their theme park a tremendous amount of live entertainment. These kind of creatures running around, college students putting on performances during those months, puppet shows. Sid and Marty Krofft were originally puppeteers, 5th generation puppeteers from Greece. And they do some just exciting and extravagant kind of things with puppets that you just can't believe can be done. They're almost humanized. So as far as variety, there'll always be variety. So I think that negative concept, or what people in the city thought to be negative, will not really take place. So there's also going to be some unique rides, as I pointed out. The gigantic crystal carousel over here on the right, or on your left, is unique in that they'll be all crystal. Each caricature on the carousel will be built to a rhythm that relates to the type of creature he is. If he's something from the sea, he'll have a more fluid motion. If he's a horse, he'll trot. They also have some mythological type creatures on there too. But the most unique thing to me, and I'm looking strictly as an engineering standpoint now, it floats on air. It is not structure-borne at all because of the vibration problems. So they had 35 Apollo engineers who were out of work. They went down and asked them if they'd be interested in trying some new engineering techniques into incorporating rides into a high-rise structure that couldn't tolerate loud noises and vibrations. So they came up with an air system. So this thing just floats on air, and it's about 35 tons. I don't know how it's done. I don't really know. But the real importance of this entertainment center is that it's also striving to provide the missing link entertainment element in the scheme of downtown revitalization. And we all believe, I think this grows on you, in the beginning I was a little negative about it being in the project. I thought it was a bad decision, but the longer I work with these people and I see their goals being put into paper and then into actual construction, I think it's going to be a definite mark in bringing people back downtown. So I also want to show you at this time, I couldn't pass this up. I couldn't bring along the music, but I have a series of slides here which will give you an idea of what they have in the slide, or in the top level. It's called the pinball machine ride. These are all some of these characters. And what this is in the age of Tommy and the Pinball Wizard and a few of the others is, have you ever thought of being the size of a pinball and riding a pinball through a pinball machine? So I think, I don't know if the first year projects are similar, but these guys are doing great here at first year Ball State. So I'll try to explain it. With the music we're here, it'll be a little different, but I'll go through this. But what it amounts to is this is the overall view of the pinball ride machine, and you are going to be getting into pinballs. This is the scale of the human figure in the pinball, those being the bumpers. So we're approaching the entry point into the machine itself. This little robot that pulls the plunger. And this is where the ball is dropped into the plunger area. Now, you already have been put into a ball. It holds 3 people, and you're inserted into this tube. And at that point, these are the balls. So you can see about the size of them to the scale of the human again. But as you come in, you're cued into this plunger area. And of course, they pull the plunger back, and you're on your way. So here you are out on the face of the machine. Everyone's familiar with pinball machines. You're in the flipper area and you're up against the bumpers. And going back to what I was saying about the sensations of it, they have a stereo system within the ball which simulates all the noises of a pinball machine. So it's got to be exciting. I'm really anxious to see this thing built. But you're whirling around. Now I have to emphasize again, it's not a thrill ride. It's just strictly an exciting experience kind of ride. No one can get sick. The ball doesn't turn over. It stays on the same axis at all times. But you're just moving through the machine each time. Different sequence. At this point, they take you into the machine. You've done well. You've got a bonus play. So let's see where that ball goes when you get the ball back for another shot. This is where they're going to use a tremendous amount of light to excite you. I don't even know, this is amazing to me. This is a model that they took this from. And I'm not sure the scale of the model, but these people are precise. They're just beautiful. They're building their own rides, too. They're not engineering them and sending them out to be built. They're building their own rides in California and shipping them to Atlanta. This thing runs on a track. It's not random, so it's a programmed event. Bear in mind now you're miniature in scale, so when the quarter comes dropping through the slot, it's going to be bigger than you. And it just misses you, the way I understand it, and goes by you so close that you can't believe that you won't get hit by it. This is into the gear area of the machine now. They take you through where the gears are and where the points are kept and totaled. And again, the sound will be a simulation of gears and lights. Well, Omni International is a result of a comprehensive program whose efforts are directed towards trying to give the city back to the people, to give them a reason to return. And hopefully this project will advance the goal of revitalization that the developer has set up and provide some enjoyment for those people who do use the city. And we definitely do believe that if the project does become a success, that it'll undoubtedly point the way for many other major cities to attempt to revitalize their cores as well. But one step beyond that, related to something of why I really kind of wanted to show you this, was I hope I've created some interest that potentially you'll stop by and visit this complex when it's complete. 1976, January is when Croft World will be complete. So when you come flying through Atlanta on your way to the leisure environments of Florida, stop off for 2 or 3 hours and try some of Atlanta's environments as well. Thank you.